I've actually been here, I think 3 or 4 times, speaking on one subject or another. Generally, it was gardening or trying to promote downtown or the community of St. Albans for gardening. Today, I am here in front of you as the chairman, the current chairman, of the Festival of Trees. Now, historically, the Festival of Trees started approximately 10 years ago. And this was started to promote free activities for the community to be held downtown St. Albans. And it traditionally has always started the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So that would be in the November, the very last of November. And it would go for an entire week, offering fireworks, parades, concerts, free movies, library, story hours, activities for children. And this has been, as I said, on for 10 years. And this was our 10th anniversary this year. Every year it has changed and it has evolved. And we have had wonderful support in this community from the merchants as well as the Rotary and different clubs and organizations, businesses, to help promote the wonderful activities that we're able to totally give to this community for their and the money that we raise from this also goes toward a charity that or to a group that we have designated each year. And that has been groups such as Martha's Kitchen, the Humane Society,
The shelter.
One year it was for domestic abuse.
The fountain 1 year.
Yes. So we've given it many years to a lot of different charities. This year we did split it just a little bit. Mm-hmm. We did give to the this last week to the Humane Society, and
a small amount went to the St. Albans Community Arts Group.
Yes,
which is promoting and supporting arts activities and events. A lot of you may have seen the Arts Festival we just held and the Art Walks, and we're looking at fixing up the auditorium in City Hall a little more so it's more accessible for the dance performances and things we've been doing.
And hopefully to be able to bring some different arts events to the city that we can promote. As a matter of fact, we did have an art event a week ago Friday, in which 4 musicians came from New York and from Massachusetts up and started with master classes with the BFA band. And after the master classes and dinner, the BFA band performed. And interestingly enough, those musicians really noted that what they had taught in the master classes really made a difference in the performance of those students. And then they themselves had a short performance and then a reception. And the reception was so that the people of the audience as well as the musicians could have an opportunity to meet the musicians, to actually talk to them and ask questions. So we're trying to get some things going in this community to promote programs to bring some different arts programs to Franklin County. Yep. Anything to add?
No, we had a rocky year last year because we lost a lot of our volunteers and staff due to some really horrific life issues that happened.
Oh, yeah.
So we're hoping to
That's how I got to be chairman.
Yes.
It's called next in line. You know how you sign up for vice president thinking, never. It's going to happen. Well, guess what?
And we're hoping that we can recruit some new volunteers, and maybe, if not, that some people who would be willing to help out. Last year, out of 8 committee heads, we ended the year with 1 from the original group. It was just that really horrible a year. And none of them left for unwillingness to do anything. It was just they
had horrific,
life-changing
events.
It was a really horrible year. So we're hoping to, financial support is wonderful, and if anybody wants to donate, we're more than happy to have donations. But we're also hoping to recruit some help to keep this going. The last year, the fireworks, the opening of the festival is the fireworks demonstration that the city runs, and then we provide the food and Santa Claus and all that in the park. And there were over 1,000 people last year in the park. It's absolutely free to everybody, but it takes volunteers to get Santa there, to manage the lines, to hand out the food, to get the food from the places, and that it's all a big event. So we're really hoping to get some help.
Additional
Yes.
support.
So we're putting out an appeal, please, if you're willing to help even a little bit or know anybody. And we would certainly welcome some organizational people because, as I said, we lost most of our committee heads last year, and we haven't managed to replace most of them yet. We were scrambling last year just to keep up with
What
getting the
needed to be
event
done.
on, yes. So now we're hoping to get this on a firmer footing this year. Yes.
So I have a question. So Swanton Arts Council, which is new, has been using our building to
Yes.
have a garage sale kind of thing in Swanton, arts and that sort of thing. Have you been in contact with those folks to see how you might partner together?
Well, the community arts group has been in contact with the Festival of Trees is like a subcommittee of the arts group, but the Swanton Arts Group, and some of them have volunteered and helped out, but mostly they're interested in the more artistic end. We had one or two people who came and helped us decorate the hall, and that was wonderful.
If that's me, I apologize.
But most of them are more interested in, more artistic activities.
I totally forgot to turn it off.
Yeah.
Push the button on the top. Thank you.
The festival's a little bit more, you guys know from running the expo, the festival itself is really, it's like running a business. There are all these kind of work components that need to be put together, and it's not something, most of the Swanton Arts people are really involved with their arts end, and they're not really interested in the whole organizational end of things. So we have gotten some help, and we got a number of donations from some of the Swanton artists for the silent auction we did as the fundraiser to help support the activities we do. But we need some people who are willing to help organize the actual events.
Actually, one of the events that we do is a walk around St. Albans, in which there are, 8 stations that these kids visit?
Oh, the Journey to the North Pole. Yep, there are 8 to 10 stations.
There's 8 to 10, so they have to walk approximately a mile. And at
Yep.
each one of the
You guys did,
stations,
yep.
they are given either a stamp, a candy cane, a little something.
And they get their-
once they have
Yep.
completed this entire loop, then their name goes into a hat for for a prize at the end. There is a drawing, and this year we are giving away a bike. And we're hoping that we could, at some point, maybe even talk to you about the possibility of doing a Rotary ski pass or something of this nature.
Try to attract some of the older kids. It was mostly the toddlers this year, the very young preschool kids, which was wonderful, but it'd be nice to get some of the older kids involved too. And 2 of your members graciously volunteered to help man one of the stations last year. Yes, it was.
We were good elves.
And that was, we told them,
We wore the hats and everything.
that was kind of typical of last year. We set up all the stations and got the stickers and made the map and everything. And we had somebody who had said, yes, they were happy, they were going to provide 15, I think it was,
15 volunteers.
to man the stations and that. And it was going to be a little tight because it's good to have 2 people there just in case, but that was fine. And then a week before it was, maybe they were going to have 12, and then it was 10, and then, they couldn't ask their employees and that to give up their time to do this. And after all this was a busy selling season, we ended up with 3. 24 hours before the event. And I remember by scrambling, you guys really helped out, and it was wonderful, but we were really scrambling to get people at the last minute, so we're looking for some people who are willing to kind of commit a little more firmly to helping get things organized. Yep.
So
Well,
if anybody
we-
has any questions of us,
Yes.
we'd be glad to answer any questions, but I want to...
Yes.
More of an offer when you, in the lead up to those events that you do, you're looking for hands, give me a heads up, I'll announce it here at the club and see if
Oh.
anybody.
Terrific.
Excellent.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so very much. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, we sent
Yes.
a sign-up sheet around. I mean,
Yep.
for the various things.
That'd be great. Yes.
But it's very simple, and as I said, when I put out an SOS to, I believe it was Northwestern,
Yes, you did.
to Northwestern, and I ended up with wonderful volunteers, and I promised them, if you can give me 2 hours, if you can give me 5 hours, I don't care, as long as you give me something, wonderful.
Yep.
And these people came through, they wrapped packages, they came to my kitchen and wrapped baskets, did...
People show up to bake 500 gingerbread men.
Yes, 500 gingerbread men for one of our
Santa's workshop.
for
Yep.
the Santa's workshop.
But
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't have any idea what it takes to run that. Could you give me an example of 2 or 3 positions you're looking to fill?
Well, the event, most of the committee chairs run one of the events, or organize, I should say, one of the events. You don't have to
Although
have personally.
the events themselves are pretty well self-contained, set up and easy to run. It's just a matter of that person being there and making sure that they have the volunteers to run, to man it.
So for those of us that have never
Yep.
gone to the Festival of Trees.
That's all right. Well,
What are, name
for
one
instance,
event.
the opening of the festival, which is the fireworks on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Somebody has to contact Hannaforders, who we usually work with, at least 2 months ahead of time to tell them we're going to need 15 gallons of cider, and we're going to need 3,000 donut holes, and find out how much they're willing to donate, and make the arrangements. We also end up paying for some of that, which is fine, and coordinating with Santa. And this year we had Public Works Fire Department bring Santa in his fire truck, because the year before Santa was mobbed and never made it to his sleigh.
Never made it to a sled.
Because they just couldn't pass because now. So now
The
public.
kids saw it coming and just
glommed on, and I mean there were, because you're talking 1,000 people in there. It's a madhouse. So this year the fire truck brought him in, and the police helped clear a path because the kids would get out of the way for the police, and got him to the sleigh. But then you need a Santa Wrangler there to make sure he's okay. Does he need water? Organize the line. Make sure the candy canes get ordered
I
and
was
that
a
they're
Santa
there.
Wrangler.
Yep.
I would say to him, now what is your name? Billy. Okay.
Yep.
Now, by the way, nobody had a simple name like Billy. It was
No.
all crazy names. So I would say, Santa, you remember Billy? He lives up the street. Do you remember that? Oh, yes,
Yep.
he'd say.
Yep.
Then off he'd go, Billy.
Yep. And then
So
somebody.
I gave Santa the name
Right.
of each child as they climbed into the sleigh.
And you have to, of course, get the candy canes there, making sure, which we can do, making sure the Public Works has the shack up and that it's connected, because there's a possibility for power there. Getting the food and getting it to the place, recruiting volunteers to help hand out the
But
stuff.
it sounds like a huge
Coordinating
thing.
with-
It sounds like huge.
Yeah.
However,
There's a little time, but it's not necessarily the big time, of
It's
course,
just-
is at the event itself, because somebody needs, and you can recruit somebody. If you want to be the organizer and recruit somebody to be the person on the ground, I helped out a lot this past year, but I have a store. In the busiest shopping weekend of the year, I had to be in my store. I couldn't get anybody, I could have recruited people to do it, but I couldn't ask them to do it because they couldn't handle it at that time of the year. So I helped out, but I was all behind the scenes. I was prepping stuff and doing stuff. The same thing with the gala. I showed up later in the evening, but Judy was the person on the ground during the day because I was running my store. So there's room
And no
to do
voice.
both. Yep. You recruit volunteers. We have Santa hats, and then it's coordinating with Public Works, and we can do that just to make sure the time, and you coordinate with the police department, which is usually sending a couple emails to say, how far do we need to keep the people back? How much room do they want for safety in the park? Because it's easier if you don't let them migrate in than it is to push
But
them back afterwards. And, making sure that there's a few police there to keep an eye on things, and that the city's organized the fireworks.
but this year I think we finally have everything so that it's pretty well, in September you contact this person, in October you contact this person.
Yep. Pauline did.
It's pretty well all outlined now so that
Pauline did a wonderful job for years, but it was all in her head.
Yeah.
now it's all
Everything
written
was in her
down.
head. Yeah, we've spent the last year and a half decanting as much as we could and making spreadsheets and making timelines and trying to get all the names and contacts. And it's not perfect because it's still a work in progress, but we have a good chunk of what's needed to organize things in planning documents for each event. And there is room to customize. I mean, if, let's say, you wanted to run the just say you wanted to run the tree lighting and the fireworks. But you could say, I'd like to add, I want to make this a Seuss event, which is what Jess did one year, and I want to get hats that everybody for, Whoville and the Grinch Who Stole Christmas and that. You could do that. I mean, there's room to put a little bit of your own stamp on it, but we have a lot of the basics organized.
But we need to let these people go back to
Yes, we
work.
do.
So if
Thank you
anybody
very
has-
much. Yes.
I was just gonna say, having just moved here in October,
Mm-hmm.
I attended the opening night of the fireworks.
Oh, yes.
and
Wasn't it
everything
fun?
With my son, daughter-in-law, and their two little ones. It was delightful, and I was very impressed with the whole event.
Yep.
That was really the first community event I had attended since I got here.
Yeah, we have a wonderful turnout for most of the events, and it's very popular. Yes.
Amazing.
We'd like to keep it going.
It was a nice job.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to us and considering us. Yes.
The Rotary would like to thank you. I know our kids have thoroughly enjoyed your events. So
Thank you very
please,
much.
there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for speaking.
Thank you
with
for
us.
listening to us.